courtrooms can become a setting for some of the really tense moments. It is one such place which can become as dramatic in real life as it is on screen. These moments can range from heartfelt apologies to Freudian slips.
We haven't done anything. We're a totally peaceful racist group.
It is astonishing when you consider the fact that it is essentially just two people talking to each other. But the friction created by the power dynamics in play help bring out nuanced ideas that can shift your perspective. Let's take a look at how 3 films show these scenes at their highest point, where a person is forced to testify against themselves. Can we really talk about the topic without mentioning A Few Good Men? This film, directed by Rob Reiner, is more than 3 decades old and still makes it into the list of the most renowned courtroom dramas. While there's a lot to talk about in terms of the film itself, we'll save it for some other day. For now, let's focus on this iconic scene between Kaffee, the carefree lawyer who is never allowed a case to go to trial so that he does not have to deal with his father's fame, who was a legendary trial lawyer.
He successfully plea bargained 44 cases in 9 months.
And Colonel Jessup, a strict authoritarian who wouldn't back down from a confrontation and gets unstable at the slightest lack of respect.
You see, Danny, I can deal with the bullets and the bombs and the blood. What I do want is for you to stand there in that faggoty white uniform and with your Harvard mouth extend me some fucking courtesy.
Kaffee must solve the case of the murder of Private Santiago, which had something to do with an extrajudicial punishment called Code Red. We start off with Kaffee waiting for his partner Sam to bring in the 2 key witnesses. He has no option but to call upon Jessup. Right before the climactic scene, Kaffee was warned that going too far with Jessup could have serious consequences, including a court-martial. And just look at how the colonel enters, standing firm, shot from a low angle, commanding both respect and fear from everyone present. Jessup holds all the power. Kaffee soon gains his confidence as Sam brings in the witnesses. He lays down his setup, establishing that Colonel Jessup had ordered Private Santiago's transfer, something we and every important character knows is a lie. Now it is time for Kaffee to make his first move, and so he does by literally moving around the courtroom, walking in from a mid-shot to a mid-close, and then a close-up to deliver his first punch.
I'm wondering why Santiago wasn't packed.
We see Jessup in another close-up knowing that the move worked. The power dynamics have changed quite a bit, and we've only just started. Kaffee makes his second move with the point that Santiago did not make a single call to anyone informing about his transfer. Because the fact is, he was never being transferred in the first place. At this point, there's an objection by the opposition lawyer, but he's shot out of focus to remind us that the game is between Kaffee and Jessup. It is now time for Jessup to try to re-establish his dominance, and he does so by trying to be intimidating. The difference in the 2 characters is highlighted by the staging and the camera. While Kaffee is mentally agile and had walked into the camera to gain control, Jessup is firm, and therefore it is the camera that dollies in to get him into a close-up.
Now, are these really the questions that I was called here to answer? Phone calls and footlockers? Please tell me that you have something more, Lieutenant. These 2 Marines are on trial for their lives. Please tell me that their lawyer hasn't pinned their hopes to a phone bill.
At the midpoint of the scene, Kaffee is exactly where he started off with, on the back foot. With no more cards to play, he contemplates on doing something unconventional. But as Jessup starts to walk away, Kaffee knows what he has to do. He disrespects Jessup, telling him that he did not dismiss him, a word we have heard throughout the movie to show that one is superior to the other, and commands Jessup to sit down. The game has gotten personal. Kaffee shivers as he gulps down a glass of water, not just because he is afraid to do exactly what he was warned not to, but also because he is going to completely step out of the shadow of his father. Everyone is on edge. The first card he plays is a bluff, making it seem like the 2 witnesses are there to testify against Jessup, and it works. Jessup holds on to his tough demeanor.
This is ridiculous.
Colonel, a moment ago,
Check the tower logs, for Christ's sake.
We'll get to the airman in just a minute, sir.
Then comes the second setup, and this time it is a blind spot he is going to exploit. He inflates Jessup's ego, acting submissive and calling him sir, to establish that no one in the Guantanamo base could go against his orders. And then comes the question,
Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Did you order the code red?
You're goddamn right I did!
the perfect execution of a trap that Jessup was too proud to see and walked right into, too proud to walk out of when given the chance, too proud to even understand that he has lost the battle when everyone in the courtroom knows what has happened. This scene is brilliant, because while you are rooting for Kaffee, you cannot help but understand Jessup. It was his rigidity and stubbornness, however, that made him forget what he was doing it all for, which in Harold's words was,
We were supposed to fight for people who couldn't fight for themselves.
While this was an intense unfoldment, there are some films that handle a similar situation with a comic tone. Behind Robert Luketic's lighthearted rom-com/courtroom drama lies a story with an important message. Legally, Blonde sets out to break the stereotype that girls who spend their points on being attractive usually don't have much left for their brains. Our central character, Elle, is a charming blonde girl who loves to wear pink and is therefore never taken seriously.
There's nothing I love more than a dumb blonde with daddy's plastic.
After being dumped by her boyfriend, she decides to enroll in Harvard Law School to win him back. To say that she stands out as a sore thumb there would be an understatement. After being treated as nothing other than an eye candy, she is determined to prove herself worthy by defending her role model, Brooke, in her husband's murder case. With two people on her side, one willing to put his career and the other willing to put her life on the line, the stage is set. Chutney, the daughter of the murdered victim, is sworn in, and the ball is now in Elle's court. Clearly nervous, she starts off by offending the judge and then proceeds to make the case worse for herself.
Your father was shot while you were in the shower, but you didn't hear the shot because you were in the shower?
She's clearly bit off more than she could chew. Losing faith in herself, she walks into the frame, making a mid-shot a mid-close. But her nervous walk makes it different from what we saw in the previous scene. She is not in a great position, but that is about to change. Chutney, while talking about her day, says something that makes things click in Elle's head. The hanging head is held up again. The composure is regained. The discrepancy in Chutney's information is something only a girl who knew fashion and cosmetics like Elle would understand. She moves her pieces by talking to the jury in her usual gossip-like manner and completes her setup by asking Chutney,
Chutney, why is it that Tracy Marcinko's curls were ruined when she got hosed down?
Because they got wet?
Exactly. Because isn't it the first cardinal rule of perm maintenance that you're forbidden to wet your hair for at least 24 hours after getting a perm, at the risk of deactivating the ammonium thioglycolate?
a confident Elle in a full-on close-up juxtaposed with a stuttering Chutney in an OTS. Understanding kicks in around the room as the close-up gets tighter and tighter until we have the breaking point.
Isn't that right?
She's my age. Did she tell you that? How would you feel if your father married someone who was your age?
You, however, had time to hide the gun, didn't you, Chutney? After you shot your father.
I didn't mean to shoot him. I thought it was you walking through the door.
And there it is, the shock, the realization, and the celebration. Elle, against all odds, has proved that beauty and brains are not incompatible. She has not had to give up her flair, her sparkle, her pink to prove her worth. After court-martial and cosmetics, we now move into a more bizarre territory. Fritz Lang's M is a very serious film from pre-World War II Germany, and its peculiarity lies not just in its story, but also in the fact that there is no protagonist. This eerie film is set in a fear-stricken Berlin as a child murderer roams the streets on a lookout for his next victim. After a police crackdown, the bosses of organized crime under the Safecracker take the matter into their own hands.
Zwischen dem, den die Kriminalpolizei sucht, und zwischen uns, da ziehen wir einen dicken Strich. Da ist Schluss. Jawohl. Wir üben unseren Beruf aus, weil wir existieren müssen. Aber diese Bestie hat kein Recht zu existieren. Die muss weg. Die muss ausgerottet werden, vertilgt. ohne Gnade und Barmherzigkeit.
After a team effort, Hans Beckert, the alleged murderer, is finally found. What follows is one of the greatest scenes in cinema history. Because let's be real, films that sound preachy are just boring, films that have well-written themes are better, but can anything beat a film that just asks a difficult question? And if you thought A Few Good Men handles a moral dilemma well, buckle up and fasten your sanity with the strap of your ideologies. Hans is brought into the abandoned distillery, and a simple pan shot reveals the gangsters turned jury. Hans screams for help while the criminals wait for him to calm down. He walks into the camera pleading, not just to the criminals but also to us, that there has been a mistake, but the blind witness confirms there is none. He panics and walks away from the camera for a moment, before walking towards it again, pleading his innocence, this time looking directly at the camera. His acting and the cinematic language used makes us feel bad for this monster. As he is shown the photos of the children he has murdered, there's no hiding any longer. He panics and runs away from the camera. This repeated motif does not allow us to see Hans as a cold-blooded killer, but as a helpless, panicking man. Now starts the moral argument. While the criminals demand his execution, Hans screams out saying that they have no rights to prosecute him. The safecracker sets up the game, but this time it is a kangaroo court rather than an official one, with Hans even being assigned a lawyer, and the line one has to stay on the right side of is a moral one rather than a legal one. Hans screams out at the absurdity of the situation, where the same men who are prosecuting him also want to play his defense. The first move is for the safecracker to reveal that their aim is not to kill him, but to render him harmless, and killing him seems to be the only way to do so. Hans argues that it would be a cold-blooded murder, and demands to be handed over to the police, which makes the makeshift court burst into laughter. The criminal's argument is that the arrest will allow Hans to escape to a mental hospital and potentially be free again, something he has done before. The camera follows Hans' movements, making him more empathetic. Here we reach the peak of the scene with one of cinema's most chilling monologues, delivered with the over-the-top acting which the German expressionist movement is known for.
Was weißt denn du? Was redst denn du? Wer bist du denn überhaupt? Wer seid ihr denn? Alle miteinander. Verbrecher.
When asked if he is forced to murder, he doubles down on the fact, even acting remorseful, implying that he himself is haunted by his own actions.
Kann mir nicht entkommen. Muss den Weg gehen, den es mich jagt. Muss rennen, endlose Straßen. Ich will weg. Die sind immer da. Immer. Nur nicht.
He doesn't just do his best to be on the right side of the moral line, but completely erases it. While the safecracker argues the popular opinion that this admission of guilt should mean a death sentence for Hans, his lawyer voices the argument we are struggling to make in our heads. How can a guy wanted for 3 murders pronounce the death sentence of a person who is acting under an irrepressible instinct? While the scene erupts into chaos, which is put to rest when the police interrupt, the dilemma is not settled, but is left for the audience to reason. From walking into a trap arrogantly, or being tricked into it, to it being the only option of getting out of a situation alive, there are many ways to present the courtroom confession. In this climatic showdown, anything can go wrong at any point of time. And in fact, things tend to turn at the last possible minute. This situation becomes the perfect stage for everything. Last moment expositions to twists, a proof of one's strengths to a showcase of one's flaws. And it is this dynamic of the structure that allows filmmakers to be versatile and really bring out the nuances of the story. Tell us what other films you are reminded of that have these scenes. Like and share this video with your circle, and subscribe to our channel to be updated about our next releases. We'll see you in the next one.